قريب قريب بس kindly request to come forward. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فقد قال تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبت إني رأيت 11 كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين قال يا بني لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك فيكيدوا لك كيدا إن الشيطان للإنسان عدو مبين وكذلك يجتبيك ربك ويعلمك من تأويل الأحاديث ويتم نعمته عليك وعلى آل يعقوب كما أتمها على أبويك من قبل إبراهيم وإسحاق إن ربك عليم حكيم صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا وشفيعنا وسندنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم. Respected friends and elders, just a quick recap. Last week we had a short introduction before the surah started. And then when the surah started, there was an introduction within an introduction before the actual story of Yusuf alayhi salam starts. So last week we discussed the rights of the Quran. One is to recite the Quran, one is to understand the Quran, understand the message of the Quran. The third is to practice upon the Quran, the message of the Quran. And the fourth right of the Quran, which I didn't mention last week, but my father reminded me that you need to mention this as well. Another right of the Quran is after practicing upon the Quran, we need to propagate the message of the Quran. So whatever we learn, we practice and we propagate. Learn, practice, propagate. This should be our motto. Thereafter we understood what is a Makki surah, what is a Madani surah. And then we went through the reason for revelation, which is called Asbabun Nuzul. Sababun Nuzul, the reason for why a particular ayah or particular surah was revealed. So we mentioned two reasons for revelation. One is that after the year of grief, the Amul Huzn, Allah Ta'ala wanted to console our beloved Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam through the stories and the lessons and the morals from the Surah Yusuf. Another reason was given, and another reason of revelation is that either the Jews themselves or they sent the Makkans, the pagans of Makkah, to question Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as with regards to the family of Yaqub, that they were living in Sham, they were living in Palestine, Sham. What was the reason for them to move to Egypt, and what happened with Yusuf alayhi salam? Allah Ta'ala revealed the Surah Yusuf. A third reason of revelation is mentioned, which was not mentioned last week, is that the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, they asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, لَوْ قَصَصْتَ عَلَيْنَا. You know, you mentioned a lot of things to us. If only you had mentioned stories to us. If only you mentioned some stories to us. Oh, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, mention some stories to us. Allah Ta'ala accepted their request, and not Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam himself did not narrate a story. Rather, Allah Ta'ala says, Nahnu naqussu alayka. He refers to revelation to himself. Allah Ta'ala says, Nahnu naqussu alayka. Nahnu naqussu alayka ahsan al-qasas. That we ourselves, we reveal upon you. That the Sahaba was asking, they were asking that tell us a story. Allah Ta'ala himself reveals this surah, and he says, Nahnu naqussu alayk, and we narrate to you a story. And just not just a normal story, ahsan al-qasas, the most beautiful story. And the reason was mentioned last week, that yes, all the stories in the Quran are beautiful, but the most beautiful story in the Quran is the narration and the narrative and the tale of Yusuf alayhi salam. And the reason being is that the lessons that you learn and the morals that are learned and the advices which are learned from this surah and the way that they are found is not found in any other surah. So this is Ahsan al-Qasas, the most beautiful surah, and the reason for why it is most beautiful. Moving forward, we mentioned the dream last week. Allah Ta'ala goes straight into the dream. There is nothing before. Allah Ta'ala goes straight into the story where Yusuf alayhi salam sees the dream. You know, in the stories nowadays, you mention the weather, or you mention things which are irrelevant. But this is Allah Ta'ala narrating the story. Allah Ta'ala does not narrate anything which is of no benefit. Whatever Allah Ta'ala narrates, there is some wisdom behind it, and there is some benefit behind it. And if Allah Ta'ala doesn't mention anything, that means that there is no benefit in narrating or saying such a thing. Allah Ta'ala says, go straight into the story where Yusuf alayhi salam sees a dream. And the Mufassirin, they mention that the age of Yusuf alayhi salam was approximately 6 to 9 years old. Yusuf alayhi salam comes to his father and he says that إِذْ قَالَ يُوسُفُ لِأَبِيهِ يَا أَبَتِي, that remember when Yusuf alayhi salam came to his father and he says that, oh my beloved father, Ya abati, oh my beloved father, Inni ra'aytu ahada ashara kawkaban wa shamsa wal qamara ra'aytuhum li sajidin. Verily I see in a dream 11 stars, the sun and the moon. I see them prostrating towards me. I see them making sajda in front of me. And he was sure of what he saw. He narrates this dream to his father. Further on, Allah Ta'ala mentions in the Quran, Yaqub alayhi salam, he understands, as Yaqub alayhi salam himself, from the family of prophethood, his father a prophet, his grandfather a prophet, his father Ishaq alayhi salam is a prophet, and the father of Ishaq alayhi salam, Ibraaheem alayhi salam, is a prophet. So from the lineage of the prophethood, they understood the reality and the interpretation of this dream. So Yaqub alayhi salam tells Yusuf alayhi salam that لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك فيكيدوا لك كيدا إن الشيطان للإنسان عدو مبين وكذلك يجتبيك ربك ويعلمك من تأويل الأحاديث ويتم نعمته عليك وعلى آل يعقوب until the end of the ayah. إن ربك عليم حكيم. The khulasa and the summary of these ayats is that Yaqub alayhi salam, he understood that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give something special to Yusuf alayhi salam, and Yusuf alayhi salam is going to become a prophet, and he will inherit the prophethood from his father Yaqub alayhi salam. And this is a great honor for every father, that their children inherit the qualities that they possess. For example, if a father is a millionaire, it will be his honor that his children become millionaires, and if not more. If their father has a certain speciality and he has certain qualities, and he is a master in a field, for example, then his honor would be that his children would adopt and would acquire the same knowledge and maybe even go further and beyond their stage. So Yaqub alayhi salam, he tells Yusuf alayhi salam that don't disclose this dream to your brothers, as the interpretation of the dream, the general interpretation of the dream is quite obvious, that you will be honored and your family will be under your power. If you narrate this dream to your brothers, then Yaqub alayhi salam says that فَيَكِيدُوا لَكَ كَيْدًا, that they will plot against you. They will plot against you. Why did Yaqub alayhi salam say this? Yaqub alayhi salam had a feeling and he had a sense, and he could all see that there is some kind of grudge between the brothers and Yusuf alayhi salam. There is some kind of jealousy, and he could sense that the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam are somewhat jealous of Yusuf alayhi salam, and there is not so much love between them. He could sense this. So he said that if you mention this dream to your brothers, then this will add fuel to the fire, and they will plot against you, and they will try to do something to you. They will harm you, they will attack you, or they will do something. So he says that فَيَكِيدُ لَكَ كَيْدًا. Thereafter Yaqub alayhi salam says, إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوٌ مُبِينٌ. That verily shaitan, he is an open enemy for the humankind. Shaitan, he is the open enemy for the humankind. Thereafter Yaqub alayhi salam tells his son the interpretation in some sense, that Yaqub alayhi salam says that Allah Ta'ala will choose you, and He has chosen you. وَكَذَلِكَ يَجْتَبِيكَ رَبُّكَ وَيُعَلِّمُكَ مِنْ تَأْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ. And Allah Ta'ala will give you the knowledge. Allah Ta'ala will grant you great knowledge. Allah Ta'ala will grant you knowledge with regards to the dreams and the interpretation of dreams. وَيُعَلِّمُكَ مِنْ تَأْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ وَيُتِمُّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ وَعَلَى آلِ يَعْقُوبَ كَمَا أَتَمَّهَا عَلَى أَبَوَيْكَ مِنْ قَبْلُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْحَاقَ. Allah Ta'ala will grant you great bounties, and He will fulfill His bounties upon you. The same bounties that He gave your forefathers, Yaqub and Ishaq, meaning that Allah Ta'ala will choose you for prophethood. Allah Ta'ala will accept you for prophethood. Now coming on to the lessons. So inshallah, the way I will try to impart these lessons is that I will summarize the ayat for you, then I will go through the lessons which we learn within these ayat, and then if there is any topic that needs to be touched upon, inshallah we will go discuss and go more further into a certain topic. So we've understood now the scenario of what happens. Yusuf alayhi salam sees a dream, he mentions this dream to his father. Yaqub alayhi salam understands that this is something special, and this is glad tidings for Yusuf alayhi salam, and he will be given prophethood. But at the same time, he sensed the jealousy amongst the brothers, that they are jealous of Yusuf alayhi salam, and the reason for this, inshallah, we will mention in the next session of why the brothers were jealous of Yusuf alayhi salam, and go into more detail of what jealousy is, inshallah, next week. Yaqub alayhi salam says, don't narrate this dream. Anyway, lesson number 1. Yusuf alayhi salam sees this dream. And for a child of that age, 6, 7, 8, 9, a dream like this, a child would just put it aside and carry on with his, playing around. But no, we understand from this that Yusuf alayhi salam is relating this dream to his father. We understand that this is something serious, and we also understand that Yaqub alayhi salam would instill the tawheed and the oneness of Allah in the hearts of his children, and he would give them tarbiyah and nurture them, and the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their lives, and always advise them. Hence, when Yusuf alayhi salam saw a dream that people are prostrate, or things and items, the sun and the moon and the stars are prostrating before a human, rather before himself, this is something to worry about, because this is against tawheed. So he wanted to tell this to his father. Another thing we understand is, look at the connection between the son and the father, or between the father and the son. That Yusuf alayhi salam saw something different in his dream. He narrates it to his father. He doesn't go anywhere else. This shows that his father had a great connection with his son, that when something came up in the son's life, he would narrate it, and he would go to his father and ask for advice. A lesson for us all, those who are fathers, that build a connection with your children, or those who are to be fathers, that when you have children, then build a strong bond between yourselves and your children. Give them time, give them attention. I always mention, and I always quote my beloved Shaykh Hazrat Moulana Muhammad Salim Dawrat Sahib Hafidahullah, and he always says this, that give your children attention and give your children love at home. Because if they do not find this attention, and if they do not find this love at home, then they will go outside the house to find attention, and outside the house to find love. So give your attention and love at home, so they stay close to you, and when something pops up in their life, they will turn towards you. How Yusuf alayhi salam turned towards Yaqub alayhi salam when he saw something different. Thereafter we understand, look how he nurtured his children, and the respect Yaqub alayhi salam instilled within his children. And we understand this respect, how Yusuf alayhi salam speaks to his father. And he says, Ya abati, O my beloved father. The Mufassirun, they mentioned that there are approximately 10 ways to call upon to your father. And the most elite and the best way to speak to your father and to call upon your father is this. When you, in the Arabic language, when you add a ta at the end, and you say, Ya abati, oh my beloved father. And this is remember, this is a 7, 6, 7, 8 years old child. He is going to his father and he's saying, oh my beloved father. So the children here are those people who have parents. Call upon your parents with love. And we understand this point in all the in the stories of the prophets, of the other prophets as well. We understand this point in Ibraaheem alayhi salam, when Ismail alayhi salam would speak to Ibraaheem alayhi salam, when Ibraaheem alayhi salam himself would speak to his father who was not even a believer. Even then he would speak to his father with such love. So our parents, we need to speak to our parents with love. Okay? And if we are parents, then remember that our children learn from us. Our children learn from us. The parents are the children's first teachers. Okay? So if we show respect, then we will get respect. If we show that we are respecting, then our children will also show respect. Let's go on to the next point. That parents should also show respect to their children. And how does Yaqub alayhi salam talk to Yusuf alayhi salam? Yusuf alayhi salam said, Ya abati, oh my beloved father, I saw a dream of this and this and this. Yaqub alayhi salam replies to his son and he says, Ya bunayya, oh my beloved son. Okay? So we understand both ways. Parents should show respect to their children, and they will learn from your respect, and children should respect their parents. And the next lesson is that Yaqub alayhi salam, he says, La taqsus ru'yaka ala ikhwatik. Don't share your dream with your brothers. Now we learn from this is that we need to learn how to deal with matters secretly. You know, everything is not to spill out. Sometimes there is something good and prosperous in your life, and sometimes you just can't hold it. You know, in Gujarati they say pet putla cha. He just can't hold it in his stomach, and he wants to tell everyone everything to everyone. You know, sometimes when you go, something good occurs to you or with you, and if you're intending to do something good, don't spill it out in front of everyone. If something good happens to you, don't go out spilling out to everyone. Because remember, فَإِنَّ كُلَّ ذِي نِعْمَةٍ مَحْسُودٍ, that with every favored man is targeted with a jealous eye. With every ni'mah that a person has, remember there is always a jealous eye looking at him. So maybe you might be sharing your happiness with someone, but there is someone who cannot take your happiness. Okay? So another lesson here, those people who are fingers on with their social media, calm down. Don't, post everything. You go out to eat, or you have some nice food at home, you want to take a picture and post it on your Instagram or Snapchat or whatever there is. Okay? WhatsApp statuses as well. Because, we don't know. There is someone out there that may look at your status and you could get nazar from them. Okay? So save yourself. Save yourself from getting nazar. So we learn from this lesson, from this, لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك. Don't share your dream with your brothers. Another lesson we understand is that Yaqub alayhi salam, he is talking to Yusuf alayhi salam and he's saying that if you tell your dream to your brothers, then they may plot against you. They may plot against you. Now Yaqub alayhi salam, he's talking about his sons behind their back, in their apparent. But we need to understand that this is not ghiba. This is not ghiba, this is not slandering. Okay, this is not ghiba. What is ghiba? Ghiba is that when you talk about someone behind their back, yes, but in this sense, that when you are warning someone with regards to somebody else. For example, my father tells me that beware of such and such a person because he may cause this harm to you. So my father is warning me to beware of such an individual, or don't deal with such individuals because you may fall into harm. So when you are warning somebody with regards to somebody else, that beware of someone, this will not be categorized as ghibah. Okay? And another point just to mention, that sometimes a person, he is in such distress and he feels that he has been, somebody is always making him, like you say in the Urdu language, koi kisi ko tang kar raha hai, and he just cannot take it. And he needs to speak out to someone, because if he doesn't speak out, then this will make him burn from inside. So when a person talks to somebody else and takes this out from his heart, also the ulama say this is not classed as riba as well. Another beautiful message and lesson learnt in the part that we have just narrated and learned. Yaqub alayhi salam says that inna shaytan al-insani aduwwun mubin. So he says, let's just understand the fact that Yaqub alayhi salam is telling his son that don't narrate your dream to your brothers, lest they may plot against you, okay? Not because they are bad, not because your brothers are bad. It's because within every individual there is a component of envy. Within every human being there is an element of envy. And if this envy stays within its boundaries and limits, then this is something of goodness. For example, if somebody sees a hafid, he's standing up and leading in Taraweeh, and you have in your heart that if only I was a hafid and I could also lead Taraweeh Salah, this is something good. If you see someone reading the Quran in a beautiful voice, and you have in your heart that if only I could read the Quran in such a way, okay, this is envy, and this is something good. But when this element of envy goes beyond the limits, this is when you are transgressing the borders set by Allah Ta'ala, and you will go into jealousy. And jealousy is haram. Inshallah, the details of this will be mentioned next week. Now, Yaqub alayhi salam, he says that the shaitan, he is the enemy, and he will play with the hearts of human beings, and the shaitan will make the vulnerable soul do wrong things and make wrong decisions. Okay, inshallah, next week we will move on to why the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam were jealous of him, and the plot that they plotted against Yusuf alayhi salam. Before I finish, in a few minutes, I would just like to touch upon the concept of dreams, because Yusuf alayhi salam has seen a dream. In the books of Tafseer, the Mufassirin, they mention about dreams. What is a dream? A dream is that when a person, we need to understand that a human being, he has two elements. One is the soul and one is the body. Now during the day, the soul is within the body and he is doing his day-to-day lives. When he rests and when he goes to sleep, his soul leaves his body and it goes into another world, another reality, which is called the alamul mithal, the world of examples. The best way I could put it in the English language, the world of examples, meaning that whatever happens within this world, or every single object and every single thing in this world, whether an item has a physical form itself or not. For example, the Quran, it has got a physical form, and the books got a physical form. Each human has got its physical form, wealth, for example. But there are certain things which do not have physical forms. For example, strength, power, love. These type of things, these do not have physical form. But in the alamul mithal, in the world of examples, each and everything, whether in this world that around us that we see, whether it has a physical form or not in this world, in the alamul mithal, everything has a physical form. Now this soul, it goes and it wanders around in the alamul mithal, and it sees things. Sometimes, now from this we take three messages now. There are three types of dreams. One is a true dream, where there is a true message behind a dream. One is a nightmare or dream from shaitan, where shaitan is trying to trouble you. And the third type of dream is that which is called adghafu ahlam, that it doesn't have any meaning to it. It's just sometimes you are thinking things during the day and you see the same things in your sleep. Now, we need to understand that sometimes dreams are true, and we do need to relate or narrate these dreams to someone, because there are hidden messages behind these dreams. Sometimes we see good dreams and we feel that this is a good dream, and in the apparent, yes, it may be a good dream, but the meaning behind this may not be of something good. So you need to narrate it to someone who has the knowledge of dreams. And the ulama mentioned knowledge related to someone who is habib, who has an alim, or who has the knowledge of the interpretation of dreams, who has a connection with you, who knows you, and who is labib, who has good, who is knowledgeable with regards to the interpretation of dreams. You should narrate it to them, and inshallah they can interpret the dreams to you. Why? Because like I mentioned, sometimes you may see a bad dream, that you feel that there may be a bad meaning to it, but there might be something good. For example, a person sees fire in his dream. Fire is harmful, but this could have a good meaning to it. For example, the great saint, the alim who had the title of Yusuf Hadi al-Ummah, the Yusuf of this Ummah, Imam Muhammad ibn Sirin rahimahullah ta'ala, somebody came to him and he said that, "Oh Shaykh, I have seen a dream and I see a fire underneath my bed." So the Shaykh said that under your bed you will find some sort of treasure. So he goes home and he digs and he finds treasure underneath his bed. So look, there's fire. He goes to the Shaykh, fire is something harmful or something scary. Maybe you think that there might be a bad meaning to it. But he went to the Shaykh and the Shaykh said that this is the interpretation to your dream. And remember, my dear friends, the knowledge of interpretation to the dreams is something Wahhabi is directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, sometime later, maybe 6 months later, another person came and he mentioned the same dream, a similar dream to the Shaykh, and he said that, "Oh Shaykh, I have seen in a dream that I've seen fire underneath my bed." So the Shaykh said that go very carefully and be very careful, because there may be something underneath your bed that could harm you. He went home and he saw that there was a big python under the bed. So there was someone who was in the gathering of this Shaykh the first time and the second time. So he said, "Shaykh, the same dream and you give two different interpretations." So these people, they have special knowledge from Allah Ta'ala. So he says that the first person, when he came to me and he narrated the dream, that he sees fire underneath his bed. At that time it was winter. It was the cold months. So fire in cold months is something of benefit. It gives you benefit. So I interpreted this, that maybe he may find something beneficial underneath his bed. And the second person, when he came to him, he saw fire, and this was the hot months, the summer months. So fire in hot months is harmful. So that's why I deduced that there may be something harmful underneath his bed. Another example, a person came to an alim and he said that I have seen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam enter my house. Hazrat Gangohi rahmatullahi alayhi, it is mentioned that a person came to Hazrat Gangohi rahmatullahi alayhi and he said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came into my house. So the ayah came straight away into the mind of Hazrat Gangohi rahmatullahi alayhi, and of course this is directly from Allah, that innal muluka idha dakhalu qaryatan afsaduha, that when kings, when they enter a certain place, a certain village, a certain town, a place, then they destroy this place. So this ayah came into the mind of Hazrat Gangohi rahmatullahi alayhi. Hazrat Gangohi rahmatullahi alayhi said, "Go straight away to your house and take everyone out of your house." He went to his house and he took everyone out of his house, and as soon as he took everyone out of his house collapsed. So the people asked that, "How did you interpret this dream?" So he said, as soon as he mentioned this dream, my mind went to the ayah, "Innal muluka idha dakhalu qaryatan afsaduha." Okay, so this is some sort of insight or some sort of knowledge with regards to dreams. If you see a good dream or bad dream, you should narrate it to someone who has knowledge of dreams. Maybe there may be some message behind it for you. May Allah Ta'ala grant us the ability to recite the Quran, understand the Quran, practice upon the Quran, and also propagate the message of the Quran. Ameen wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqihi sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.
Subhanallah.